guys, welcome back to another episode of Moscato and Mortgage Mondays. Now today I had to highlight a brand that I have actually just recently found out about. It is called Black Girl Magic, and of course it is Black owned and woman owned, so you know I absolutely had to support. Now I've already had a sip or three, so I'm just gonna pour a little bit more because I absolutely love it, and we are going to dive right into a very important topic. I discussed a little bit a few episodes ago about the pros and cons of the new construction process. Now today, I want to go into the details about the entire process with resale as well as the pros and cons. Now with resale, when I use the term resale, new construction is literally ground, it's dirt, you're literally getting a house built and you are the very first owner, new construction. Resale means that the seller has been living in the property and they are now reselling it to a new buyer. So the most important thing that is probably the most significant difference between new construction and resale is going to be the due diligence period. Now, new construction has no due diligence period at all whatsoever. So once you go under contract, you are in a legally binding agreement that obligates you to carry it all the way through to closing day. Now with resale, you have the option to terminate during the due diligence period for absolutely any reason at all. So let's say you wake up one day, you decide not to move forward with the property for any given reason. If you have an inspection and the inspection report comes back that the roof is old, that there may be mold in the property, whatever the reason is, you can terminate literally for anything and get a refund of your earnest money. With new construction, your earnest money is non-refundable from day one. So with that due diligence period, a lot of buyers in this market may think that this is the time to continue to home shop. That's not what it means. Once you're in a contract, you should have full intentions of moving forward with it through to closing. But if there's any unforeseen circumstances, or like I said, if you just decide to change your mind, you can terminate. Now, there are also other contingencies that are included in a resale contract that will allow you to terminate and get a refund of your earnest money as long as you're within that timeline. So your finance contingency, your appraisal contingency, depending on what your loan type is, will allow you to, if you have any issues in those specific categories, you're able to terminate. Now, the thing that I love about resale is that I consider myself an expert master negotiator, and with a resale contract, you're able to truly negotiate whatever you want the terms to be. The purchase price, the closing cost contribution from the seller, how long are your contingencies, when is your closing day? That's another huge thing. In resale, you're able to choose your closing day. With all of these different things, you as the buyer, as well as partnering with an expert real estate agent, can create the contract to be basically what you want it to be. With new construction, a lot of those contingencies are already preset, in which sometimes you can negotiate them, but a lot of times they're pretty set in stone, and they're also tied to whether or not you're working with one of their preferred lenders. Now, my preferred lenders and I have been working together for a number of years. We know each other's processes. We trust each other. We've literally gotten our system down of onboarding clients and getting them all the way through the closing table with no issues. We've mastered that. So that is a lot of the reason why I opt to work with my preferred lenders, is because I can truly trust that once they issue a pre-approval to any of my buyers, they are going to be closing on that property. With preferred lenders of like a new construction community, I may not have a close relationship with them or have had the opportunity to build a rapport with them yet. So there is a little bit more of a distant working relationship, if you will. And I will say this, y'all have already seen the episode with LaShante. You guys already know she is like one of my friends. So I have her cell phone number. So if something is going wrong and we're under contract on something, I'm going to be calling her, texting her, calling her on the weekends, whatever it takes to make sure that my clients are protected. So that's what I love about resale is that you just have more options. More of the things that are going on in the contract are kind of at your discretion. Now, that brings me to my next topic of incentives. A lot of incentives with new construction are going to be either preset or tied to working with their partners. So even something as simple as me having brunch and doing all the fancy things that I like to do at my preferred closing attorney's office for a resale contract, I'm able to select that closing attorney or advise that my buyer selects this closing attorney based on the relationship that we've had, based on the experience that they have in the business. 9 times out of 10 with new construction, you're not going to have the option to choose the closing attorney that you want to work with. And not to say that I can't still make your closing day extremely special, because I promise I will. It's just a little bit different with that process. Now, another huge thing is that when you're under contract with new construction, once you actually close, most communities will offer you either a 1-8 or a 2-10 home warranty. Now, I discussed kind of in detail what that is. With resale, you're not able to have that home warranty guaranteed, but there is an alternative of you being able to purchase your own home warranty. Now, that is an additional out-of-pocket expense, but we also have the ability to ask the seller to purchase a home warranty for you as the buyer to protect all of your appliances once you move in. Now, like I was speaking about the incentives, an incentive of new construction may be, let's say, a $500,000 home in a new construction community may be offering $5,000 as a closing cost contribution from the builder and the lender, should you go with their preferred lender. With resale, if I negotiate $10,000 contribution from the seller, then that's how much they're going to be giving you towards your closing costs. So when you lay it out kind of side by side, of course, there are going to be pros and cons to every situation. But with resale, not only does the contract truly protect the buyer and is more in favor of the buyer, if you will, but you also have limitless possibilities of what you can get as far as incentives, timelines, all that kind of stuff. Now, some new construction communities do offer an 11-month walkthrough. What that is once you lived in your home 11 months from your actual closing date, that new construction community will send out the warranty team to basically kind of walk through your home and do any little touch-ups or anything that's on a specified list and kind of refresh your home. So they'll do touch-up paint. If there's any little nicks and marks or any nail pops in the ceiling, they will repair that. With resale, on the day of closing, that is the last time that the seller is obligated to do absolutely anything at all. So make sure when you are closing on a resale property, before you sign all of those documents, please note that that is the last time that the seller has to do absolutely anything. Once that transaction closes, no one is legally bound to that contract anymore, meaning if you need something done post-closing, it's going to need to be on a signed amendment, or if something pops up a month after closing, let's say your dishwasher starts leaking a month later, the seller is not obligated to have anything to do with that. And that is a very important step in the resale process that I know personally a lot of agents are skipping. I don't like to close on a property, whether it's new construction or resale, unless we have done a final walkthrough in which we are going through the entire property to make sure that everything is in the exact condition that it was that we initially viewed it. So we're going to be making sure all of the utilities are still on and working. We're going to be making sure that there are no damages to the property, that everything literally looks perfect, like the same day that we were excited and got our contract accepted. Now, if you would like to renovate, of course, with resale, you have the ability to do that. You can, once you get your keys, You can change countertops, you can change your cabinets, you can literally do absolutely anything to that property. Now, I have purchased new construction and resale, so that's why I wanted to make sure that I really dive deep into what are the differences so that you as the buyer, you know exactly what to expect during this entire process, whatever you decide to choose. Now, when I was under contract with my new construction property, there were so many little things that I wanted to change. I wanted to change the plumbing hardware, the lighting fixtures. There were just a number of little details that I wanted specifically my way. Now, builders, a lot of times they already have a certain amount of materials, they're on a timeline, they are strictly there to get the job done. They do not want interference from buyers, hand-picking different things that they want, bringing their own fixtures and things like that to be installed at the time of building, because until you actually close on that property and sign those documents and the loan is funded, you are not technically the owner. So that's why in a new construction community where they may not have the option to select your design upgrades or to change things or really just customize the house, the reason is because you don't own it yet. It's not yours. Something could happen with your loan. You could terminate. Literally anything could happen. And now they've made all these specific customizations to your liking and you're not actually the owner yet. With resale, once you close and get those keys, you can literally do anything that you want. And I find that a lot of my clients who have a background maybe in interior design, or they just want something, you know, exactly how they want it, or they're, you know, painting a vision in their mind and they're, you know, doing it in the actual property, they want to have those options and they want to make all those renovations and things like that, then I would definitely suggest resale. Now, the very last thing and most important thing, and I know y'all have been watching my stories and watching this whole process with my best friend purchasing her house, I personally nudged her in the direction of new construction once we went over all the pros and cons, because the life expectancy of the entire house is going to be the most important. Now, what I mean by life expectancy is if you have a roof, roofs are known to, let's say, last about 20 years on average. You have some that could go 25, you have some that need repairs after 10 or 15 years. But when you are starting out with new construction, you're starting out at the beginning of that life expectancy for everything, every single appliance, dishwasher, fridge, washer and dryer, literally everything that's actually going to be staying with the property is brand new. With resale, if a home was built in 1990 and the roof has not been repaired in the entire time of the seller's ownership, you're now coming into that property in 2022 with a roof that is that old. Your water heater is going to be a big replacement fee if something goes wrong with it. Your AC unit, all of those major high ticket items you need to take into consideration with the year built in your home. Now, that's not to say that if you're purchasing an older home, all of those things haven't been replaced. The very first property of mine that I purchased was actually a flip. A private investor went in, gutted the entire house, and it literally looked like new construction by the time I purchased it. I had a new AC unit, I had a new water heater, the roof had some patches that it had been repaired, the gutters were repaired and cleaned, any foundation crack. I mean, it was a beautiful home and I absolutely loved it and it felt new to me. So I don't want you to deter from resale. Just take these things into consideration and make sure that you're looking at the pros and cons as well as whatever your monthly mortgage affordability is. Now, if you guys have any questions at all about this topic, or if there's anything else that you want me to discuss on my upcoming episodes of Moscato and Mortgage Mondays, please leave a comment, email me, DM me. I'm totally open to whatever you guys want to talk about. All right, I'll see you next Monday. Cheers.